Do you love the Resident Evil series? Are you looking for a new horror game? If you answered yes, then check out my review of Resident Evil 3, the remake, coming up next on Mumble. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Mumbles. On today's episode of Mumbles, I'm reviewing Resident Evil 3, the remake. That's right, guys. I know this game's been out a few months, but I'm finally getting around to reviewing it. So I wanted to give my take and my spin on things on how this game, because there's been a lot of controversial reviews with this game. So I wanted to give my spin on things. But first things first, guys, I do have to ask you guys all a huge favor. If you have not already, please do subscribe to the channel, ring the little notification bell, and drop a like on the video. Guys, just thank you so much. That's all I'm going to say. Just thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, guys, let's talk about Resident Evil 3. And I'll try not to do that the whole time, but it's so Resident Evil. It's so much fun, you know what I mean? It's just Resident Evil 3. I'm sorry. Back to the review now, guys. So first things first, I do want to say that I gave Resident Evil 3 a 6 out of 10 on our Mumbles review. May seem a little bit low to some, but I have a good reason for doing so, so stay tuned if you want to know the reason why. So first things first, I do want to read you guys a bit of the description about this product. Witness the climatic events of Raccoon City in a completely reimagined Resident Evil 3. This highly demanded follow-up in the 94 million units selling franchise comes on the heel of award-winning Resident Evil 2 and completes the Raccoon City story arc. Resident Evil 3 will also include 4 vs 1 asymmetric multiplayer experience, Resident Evil Resistance. In Resident Evil 3, star members Jill Valentine, one of the video game's most iconic heroes, flees a city being consumed by zombies and other horrifying creatures. Built with Capcom's proprietary Resident Evil engine, Resident Evil 3 uses modernized gameplay to combine action with classic survival horror in vivid high definition. Jill's harrowing experiences in Resident Evil 3 take place in the nightmarish hours leading up to and following the events in Resident Evil 2, shedding new light on the plight of Raccoon City's residents. Every hope of escape is cut off by another star in the Resident Evil franchise, the towering bioweapon, Nemesis. This brute yet intelligent monstrosity uses an arsenal of high-powered weaponry to indiscriminately eliminate the surviving STARS members in the city, with Jill being his final target. So guys, that's what this description for this game reads. You can pick it up for the price of $60, and it is available on Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and Steam, which is computer. Now guys, in my own basic words, this is a survival horror game. Basically, if you played Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 7, you kind of know what to expect here. Kind of the same thing, especially with Resident Evil 2. Make a special note of that. Especially with Resident Evil 2, the remake. This game very much is that same kind of game. Basically, you go around, you shoot things, you solve a few puzzles, you win. Blah, done. But is it a good game? Let's find out. First, we're going to talk about the graphics, the soundtrack, and the controls. First off, the graphics in this game. This game looks fantastic. Why wouldn't it? It's Capcom, and it is built on the same engine as Resident Evil 2. It should look good, and it does. Soundtrack-wise, they did a nice job with the soundtrack. Capcom usually and almost always does a nice job with the soundtrack, so I have nothing but good things to say here. Control-wise, this game uses the same controller setup as Resident Evil 2. Nothing has changed. It's over-the-shoulder shooting. It's a nice control design. That's all I can say. Now we're going to come to the gameplay. And guys, I know this review is moving along really quick, but there's not a lot to say here. Gameplay is pretty standardized with following the Resident Evil 2 formula, so if you played that, you know what to expect again. Basically, you follow Jill and Carlos along in the story and try to keep them alive. Along the way, they will have to kill zombies and enemies and any other thing that comes after them. There's also a few puzzles in this game for you to complete and a few special things for you to find. But for the most part, this game is very much run, gun, shoot zombies, solve a few things, watch some story scenes, and be done. That's it. So guys, that is the only thing about the gameplay that I can tell you. Now I'm going to talk to you guys about the cons for this game. Guys, con-wise, there is one major con for this game, if you haven't already figured it out. It is very much like Resident Evil 2. It follows that same type of story, and it looks exactly the same. Some of the scenes are even set in the same place as Resident Evil 2. Like, there's nothing really even changed from them. Nemesis and Mr. X look very, 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 very similar. There's nothing really, no big differences there. And I just wish that they had kind of differentiated this game a little bit. I know it's supposed to be in the same place, but a little bit of differentiation goes a long way sometimes in a game. Especially a game that you're remaking for $60, for sure. That is something that needs a lot of work into it. So guys, that is our review. Now, the only thing left to tell you guys about is why I gave this game a 6 out of 10. Guys, I love this series. I love this franchise. I love this game. But I cannot overlook the fact that as many people have said, oh, this Resident Evil 3 could literally be DLC for Resident Evil 2. I'm sorry, I don't want to agree with that, but I kind of have to because it's the truth. Literally, I feel like they could have made this a DLC for Resident Evil 2. There's no new mechanics, there's no new anything in this game that couldn't have been put in Resident Evil 2. Many people will call this a cash grab. I'm not going to go that far to call it. What I am going to say is, for a game like this, I do wish they hadn't charged $60 because it very much is just building on what they already had. And that's kind of disappointing from a Resident Evil series that in recent years has brought out some great games, including Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, Resident Evil 2. The remake was great. And this game kind of fell flat for me because it's so similar to Resident Evil 2. I understand they wanted to keep it real and authentic to what it was back then, but I would have liked to see them do more with it. Nobody would have complained if they had changed things up and changed areas up and gone different places and done different things. Nobody would have complained about that, but they didn't. They chose not to. And that's why I have to give this game a 6 out of 10. I just have to. I still love this game. I love it a lot. Love it a lot, a lot, a lot. I mean, I hate it, but I love it. I hate it because it scares the crap out of me. I love it because it's awesome. But I can't overlook the problems that they have with this game. It's too much like Resident Evil 2. It does not stand alone. Anyways, guys, this has been another episode of Mumbles. I want to thank you guys so much for joining me. Please smack that subscribe button, smack the like button, smack all those buttons. I'll see you guys all in the next video. Bye, everyone. Take care.